Sports.
We are Sports. We are Sports Out.
A cool and windy day this afternoon at Turner Field in Atlanta, where the Braves will wrap up an 8-game homestand and our brief 2-game series with the Houston Astros. Braves and Astros baseball coming to you from Turner Field, and it's brought to you on Sports South by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the right stuff and the low price. Good afternoon, friends. Chip and Joe back in the saddle here at Turner Field. Great win last night for the Braves, a 3-2 final score, and that truly was a team-wide victory.
You know, my dad always had a saying. He said, son, make hay while the sun's still shining. Well, the sun's shining today, and the Braves need to make hay against these Astros, who are not playing very well. Last night, great defense from Martin Prado. He made a couple of spectacular plays, and not bad for a guy who hadn't played third base in about 2 weeks. That kind of set the tone for the whole night. Braves got some excellent contributions from their backup players. Joe Mather with a huge 2-run single. Eric Hensky drove in the run that put the Braves on top. And when you're talking about contributions for this team, think about what Christian Martinez has done out of the bullpen during this homestand and what David Ross has been doing when he's been starting, and he's in there today. It's a 25-man effort. Let's hope they do make some hay today.
And one of those 25 is Chipper Jones. He is in today's starting lineup for the Braves. That's good news, too. Derek Lowe pitches for Atlanta. Wandy Rodriguez for Houston. It's a breezy day. Let's hit the road with a win. First pitch and starting lineups coming right up. And special, the Braves and Astros battle for the final time in this series. Derek Lowe taking the ball for the Braves and hoping that last night's trend continues. For partner, it wasn't only Mother Nature providing a gentle breeze. The Astros struck out 15 times last night.
They don't hit a lot. Their average is pretty good. It doesn't correlate to their runs scored. They're like fourth in the league in batting average, but 8th or 9th in runs scored and last in home runs.
And Michael Bourne slaps one to short. And the Astros leadoff hitter is retired for the first out.
And the Ford keys to pitching success for Derek Lowe, who's 37 years old, 6'6", 230, out of Dearborn, Michigan. 3-3 on the year. His slider effectiveness, especially to two guys, two right-handers, Pence and Lee, in the middle of their lineup, and Bourne identity. I think you got to identify Michael Bourne to make sure you keep him off the bases. He's already done that. He must have seen the keys ahead of time.
Bourne's 0 for 5 in the series. Angel Sanchez, the Houston second baseman, also 0 for 4. Two pitchers who like to work fast going at it this afternoon. The Astros got Sanchez in a deal with the Red Sox for Kevin Cash. And I'm guessing that he's a man that Brad Mills knew very well, for Brad Mills was Tito Francona's longtime bench assistant with the Red Sox before becoming the Astros manager. And Dan Uggla for the second out. Here's the lineup for Houston. 15-26 already, 9 games behind the Reds, second worst record in Major League Baseball. Very impressed with Matt Downs last night. He put a charge into a couple of balls, didn't he?
Yeah, the out he made was a line shot to left to Eric Hinsky, so he's got his swing working. J.R. Tolle's in there to do the catching instead of Quintero.
A strike to Hunter Pence. Pretty good RBI total for a club that doesn't, as you said, score many runs. And Pence has the game's first base hit. Here's the Braves lineup defensively behind Derek Lowe. Good to see Jason Hayward back out there. He's in right field. Chipper Jones also good to go today. Eric Hinsky with his hot bat slides over to first base. And speaking of hot bats, David Ross has been swinging it too.
Lineup was posted late, just pending how Chipper felt after batting practice, and he gave his nod of approval to Freddie Gonzalez, so he's in there.
Carlos Lee riding a 10-game hitting streak, picked up his 2,000th hit on Saturday. And Lee ahead in the count, 1 ball, no strikes.
You know, Chip, these guys got off to a bad start last year. Then they traded Roy Oswalt. Then they traded Lance Berkman. And everybody said, you know what? In the second half, I mean, they may not win another game. They may lose 110 games. But they only finished 10 games under 500. They played really well. And Brad Mills did a great job of kind of molding these guys into, you know, pulling together when everybody had kind of written them off. And I don't really doubt that they won't do the same thing this year and bounce back from this horrible start.
I believe I read in the Houston papers earlier in the week they're actually ahead of last year's pace at this time last year by merely a game or two. They're in a tough spot. Competitive division, 9 games out. Playing a lot of young and inexperienced players with veterans with big contracts like Carlos Lee in the middle of the lineup.
Well, and another guy that hasn't done anything, and that's Chris Johnson, who they were counting on so much at third base and had such a good second half.
Chipper spears that in fair ground. He robs Lee, and Chipper trots off the field. No sign of a limp. Good play at the hot corner. The Astros out in the top of the first. It's been a good homestand, a chance to finish it up at 5-3. The Braves start play today just 2.5 games back. And partner, they're starting to reload with some of the regulars in their starting 9 today.
Yeah, really good to see Hayward back in there after missing a week out of the starting lineup. He hit a ball hard last night, which was encouraging. And we'll see how they do today against Wandy Rodriguez, 32 years old, 5'11", all of 165 pounds out of the Dominican Republic. He's 2-3 on the year. And he's pitched some good games against the Braves. He'll mix in an assortment of off-speed pitches with his fastball that's in the low 90s. He's pitched much better in recent starts. You see his last 3. He has a 2.05 ERA. And over his last 5 games, the team is 4-1 behind him. His 4 keys today: work fast and use more change-ups. That's the advice he got from Pudge Rodriguez a few years ago, and it really helped him.
But you mentioned those good games pitched against the Braves. Not many of them have happened in this park.
No, he's 0-2 here and 2-2 lifetime. But he's one of those guys, he might give up 10 hits today and beat you. So they can't afford to do what they did last night, which is load the bases up a couple of times and not score. If you get some guys on, you need to put him away.
Quickly ahead of Martin Prado, who has an 8-game hitting streak. And that one tomahawked into left center field, where Michael Bourne makes the play for the first out. Good to see Jason Hayward back in the starting lineup. He's the subject of our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
And good to see that he has good numbers against these Astros. 3 homers, 7 RBIs in 5 games. And he hit a ball last night that just ate Barmas up at shortstop.
Little looper. Bourne slipped and fell, and that cost him any chance to catch it. And Jason Hayward has a 1-out single. One area of concern, partner, you mentioned, is Houston's defense. It has not been very good here in the first month and a half.
Barmas has helped, though. That was the first error he had made in his first 14 games, so he has settled things down a little bit on the infield, and Sanchez, pretty good glove man, too, playing today.
So Wandy Rodriguez to the stretch. Let's see how Chipper fares batting right-handed. Strike 1.
Praying Mantis over to have a look.
Now, if Hunter Pence wore his uniform pants lower, where he didn't see so much sock, would he be as praying mantis like?
No.
That's the key then, right?
I think it is. And it's not like he's real skinny or anything. He's not. It's just that the way he moves and runs. I don't know what struck me with that one, but there you go.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Chipper Jones. Hayward's running. Rodriguez, and a late throw. Jason Hayward beat the pickoff.
Big jump on his first move, and he did the right thing by just continuing to run. And hopefully that right shoulder didn't suffer too much on that headfirst slide.
So a steal for Hayward. Add 1 to the team ledger.
And he's leading the team in stolen bases by a huge margin.
Yeah, there haven't been many for the Braves this year, have there been?
No.
That's the 7th for the club. Did he go? Apparently so. Chipper called out on strikes.
Yep. Alfonso Marquez got that right, much to the chagrin of Chipper Jones.
Alfonso, the home plate umpire today. There's the rest of the crew. And here's Dan Uggla.
Wandy Rodriguez, fastball, curveball changes. Curveball's kind of a 3/4 curve, and his changeup, one that has evolved, but one that, again, that Pudge Rodriguez a few years ago when he was playing for Houston encouraged him to throw more. He also developed a cutter that he learned from Andy Pettit when he was with the Astros.
Surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted that last pitch and had a long look into the ump. That's foul at third. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Wandy quit school when he was 15. Went to a camp, a baseball camp in the Dominican to try to hone his skills, and he wanted to play the outfield. That was his dream. He wanted to be an outfielder for the Atlanta Braves.
Really?
And he was a hitter and tried to develop as a hitter, and for 4 years he worked at it and just didn't get anywhere with it. And the guy who ran the camp told his uncle, come get him because he's just not going to get there. And his uncle said, well, he's got a good arm. How about pitching? So he started pitching. And that's just kind of the beginning of the story when the Astros signed him. Because he had a friend. Wandy's friend's name was Eny Cabreja, E-N-Y, Eny. And Cabreja wasn't going to be a player. And Wandy became Eny Cabreja and reduced his age from 19 to 16, signed with the Astros, and then a few years later, when Mr. Cabreja said, you know what, I need a work visa, you're going to have to fend for yourself now, Wandy had to fess up, and not only did he become Wandy Rodriguez again, but he added 3 years back onto his age.
That's over the outside corner, and Dan Uggla is caught looking, and the Braves out of luck in the bottom of the first inning. Lowe and Rodriguez on to the second. Brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T Ubers, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. Second inning. Good to see a nice, boisterous crowd at the ballpark today. Braves trying to sweep away the Astros in a brief 2-game series. Scoreless after one. Brett Wallace ready to lead things off for Houston. The Astros' first baseman went 0 for 4 in the series opener last night. There's two ways of looking at the young career of Brett Wallace. Either a lot of organizations didn't want him, or a lot of organizations did. And he lines another shot to Chipper. 2 straight plays for Jones at the hot corner. 1 out.
Now Wallace moved around a lot for a first-round pick, didn't he?
And he's the first out. And here's our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard.
Braves National League ranks in pitching. Gotta like the numbers you see there. All good. That opponent's average, very impressive, 218. Derek Lowe came into the game today with an opponent's average of 245.
It's a strike throwing machine early.
He's working fast, too. Looks like he's got good control of his slider.
And Downs missed that ball by a foot. 1 out, or 2 outs, I should say. First strikeout for Lowe.
Downs he goes. And if you didn't see last night's game, you know that he didn't get fooled like this on anything last night.
Here's Clint Barmas. That's a shot into the left field corner. Barmas has been swinging a hot bat. That continues with 2 outs.
Yeah, they didn't have him at the beginning of the season either, Chip. Sorry. He had suffered a broken hand in spring training, so he was a little slow to come back to active duty. He's only been back a couple of weeks.
But he's hit 9 of his last 13 games. And that brings J.R. Tolles to the plate. Tolles has had a rough go of it. Just 1 hit this month and 0 for his last 19.
Valerie Burrell, our booth assistant, can whip up iced tea quicker than anybody I know. She's phenomenal.
And a special blend, too, it looks like, huh?
A little green tea.
One ball, 2 strikes. On the ground to Ugla. And the Astros retired in the second. A run's a hit, a man left, no score. by the Georgia Lottery, by AT&T, by Acura, and by Sonic. Eric Hinske ready to go for the Braves in the second inning. Eric's been swinging a red-hot bat the last 3 weeks. Just like last May, Joe, Hinske's been a big part of this Braves May resurgence.
Yeah, it's hard to get his bat out of there right now. And Hinske, he's back in there today.
While we are on the road trip, which starts tomorrow in Phoenix, we then move to Anaheim. My guess is Eric will be the DH. Play American League rules.
I was asking some scouts today about their opinion, and Jim Deshaies, the analyst for the Astros TV broadcast, about these 2-game series and how hard they are on the visiting team to come into town and then leave right away. And they've got 2 of them back to back. They go from here to St. Louis for 2 days.
Another hit for Hinske.
And then they go to Toronto for interleague play. And I was told that there are a lot of these 2-game series coming up just for the insertion of a 3-game interleague series for a lot of teams. There's no long stretch of interleague games coming up. Just these 3 weekends, for example, for Atlanta and Anaheim.
Did you like 2-game series as a player? Hate them. I don't like them now, but as a player, did you
care?
care?
No. I mean, if you're at home, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect you at home.
Right.
But if you're on the road, awful.
David Ross bats. David's got a 4-game hit streak working. Yeah, we'll look at the Angels later on in the week. And the Astros will go to Toronto for the first time ever. They've never faced the Blue Jays north of the border. To stop Mr. Bautista.
On another tear, isn't he?
Amazing.
Coles went through the whole gauntlet of signs there for Rodriguez. Finally settled on the curveball in, it looked like. Maybe to the back foot.
Missed the spot. 2 balls and a strike. Do you ever remember it being this cool in May, this late?
I really don't. It's really chilly. Not supposed to be all that warm in Phoenix when the Braves go there. I think the highs are in the upper 70s. That wind is really keeping everybody uncomfortable. Of course, there'll be the retractable roof in Phoenix that will make some difference. It'll be certainly pleasant in the upper 70s, but unseasonably cool for them too.
Yeah, I guess it'll be open too, you'd think, right?
Probably so.
That nice. Oh! 3 balls, 2 strikes. Little flare down the right field line. Pence on the run, gets there, and Hinske has to hustle back to the first base bag. 1 on and 1 out. Reminder for you, friends, all the Negro League jerseys worn by the Braves and Phillies May 14th are being auctioned off for charity at Braves.com/jersey auction. All of them are signed by the player and they're available for bidding. Visit Braves.com/jersey auction today. breaking balls early in the count and high fastballs late in the count, it seems, for Alex.
Well, I tell you what, Alex saw a ton of breaking balls last night. He struck out 3 times, and the first 2 times against Brett Myers, that's all he saw. And he's just 2 for 20 in his career against Wandy. And Rodriguez 7 for 7 in first pitch strikes. He says that's an important stat for him because it helps keep his pitch count down, and he thinks it forces the hitters to put the ball in play earlier.
That's what Alex did. Tharmas, and a nifty double play turned in by the Astros to end the Braves' second inning. Each team with 2 hits. Neither team has yet scored. Let's first take a look at our quote of the day. It's brought to you by Geico.
David Ross talking about Martin Prado a couple of days ago. A few days ago, he hit a ball off the wall, and I said, look out, boys, here it comes. And Martin Prado gets locked in. That's a good thing for the Atlanta Braves, and he's right.
Player of the week, you know.
Had an unusual night last night, though, for Martin. He hit into 3 double plays.
Did he say after the game, well, I couldn't have done it without the pitcher spot?
Mm-hmm.
It was Joe Torre's famous line. He hit 4 double plays in a game and said, I couldn't have done it without Felix Millan, who was the man on right in front of him. And a little bouncing ball out to second. 1 man down. Here's Michael Bourne. Joe, I know it's an interesting story on how the Astros got Bourne from the Phillies.
Oh, I don't know. I know this guy can play a little bit, though, and he's perfect for their center field cavern out there at Minute Maid Park.
Brad Lidge and Eric Rutland went to the Phillies at the end of the 07 season. And quickly behind, 0-2. This guy's the stolen base champ the last 2 years in the National League, 61 and 52 in back-to-back years, and 14 out of 15 to start this season.
Well, think about this. When he was with the Phillies, there was a time where they had Aaron Rowan, Shane Victorino, and Michael Bourne, all capable of playing center field. That's a wealth of riches there from a defensive standpoint.
to Eric Hinske. Bourne is 0 for 2. And here's Angel Sanchez, who lined out softly to Dan Uggla.
Derek is, I've not seen him work this fast all year, I don't believe.
He's loving this Michigan-like weather.
Yeah.
40 pitches, 27 strikes.
Scare last night for the Florida Marlins. Josh Johnson was pitching against the Mets and took a bouncing ball off the forearm. He had to come out of the game with a bruised forearm. Hopefully nothing serious.
Yeah, the Marlins are playing good ball too. This Eastern race, which some thought the Phillies were going to run away with, isn't the case right now. The Phillies lead by 1 game over Florida, by 2.5 games over the Braves.
And look at the Nats. They came in here and took 2 out of 3 from the Braves. They're only 1 game under 500.
Derek Lowe deflected out to Dan Uggla. 1-4-3 the putout. 3 more groundouts for Derek Lowe. On Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price. Nate McLouth, Derek Lowe, Martin Prado scheduled against Wandy Rodriguez in a scoreless 3rd inning game. Nate scored what proved to be the winning run in the 7th inning last night. Came on a leadoff walk. And then Eric Hinske's base hit.
Both of the Braves' hits today have come from left-handed hitters. Let's see if that trend continues.
Out second, Sanchez. The play, 1 out. Braves have a winning record this year against left-handed starters. They're 7-6. Don't have a real high batting average against them. Came in hitting .231, which is 13th highest in the National League against left-handed pitching. And Rodriguez, a double-digit winner the last couple of years, a tough customer today. Just 2 hits so far.
I was telling you that story about when he signed. He used a friend's name, and the money he got from Houston, he took $500 and gave it to the coach of that camp that he went to. He gave another $500 to the guy whose name he borrowed, and he gave the rest to his family to buy cattle. He just after last year, going 11-12, signed a 3-year, $34 million deal. He's a big hat. Big cattle.
Yes, he is. And fans, order the Chevron Family Value Plan today. You get 4 Braves tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 Cokes, parking programs, and a $5 Chevron gift card for only $69. To order the best deal in sports, call 800-745-3000 or buy online at Braves.com. We'll be gone a while. We'll be back to Turner Field for about a week and a half. And the month of May with a brief homestand with Cincinnati and San Diego. And right back out on the road again to New York, to Florida, and then 4 games in Houston with the Astros. Line drive, Prado. Nine-game hitting streak. Martin creeping up to that 300 batting average mark.
This is classic Martin Prado. High fastball, it looked like. And watch that top hand work. High pitch. And the only way you can get on top of that high pitch is with your top hand. You've got to stay on top of the baseball. And that was a great example of it. And I'm not sure there's anybody on the team that does it as well as he does.
And you made a point at the start of this homestand about how odd it is to see players keep both hands on the bat. Jason Worth does it. Martin Prado does it.
Jason Hayward does it too. Yeah, it's a pretty swing. Chipper does it. Chipper once in a while come off left-handed. His top hand will come off, but right-handed he pretty much keeps both hands on the bat.
One ball, one strike. Was there a hitting coach that preached the top hand coming off?
Charlie Lau.
Charlie Lau?
That was his deal. High finish. Works for some guys and some it doesn't. Emphasizes a full, complete finish on your swing, certainly.
Wallace at first, and that will retire the side. Braves have a 3rd hit, but after 3, still looking for our first run. Major League Baseball partner. It is a very sad day for the game. Lost one of its true legends this morning.
Harmon Killebrew lost his battle with esophageal cancer. Among some quotes that we saw today, how about this one? In baseball and everything else, you do the best you possibly can and leave the field with no regrets. He certainly did, and what a kind man. A gentleman in every sense of the word, and a terrible loss for all of us.
Hunter Pence bats after singling in the first. Finds himself in an 0-2 count. He was a star with the Washington Senators and then starred when they moved to Minnesota and became the Twins.
When I was a kid, I always thought of him as being a little bit bigger than life, you know, just gigantic. But that was not the case. He was about 6 feet, about maybe 200 pounds. Stocky, certainly. You could hit him a long way.
573 home runs over a 22-year career. And I didn't realize it until all the video highlights of his life and career came across the screen that he ended his career with Kansas City. Didn't know that.
Hit that one in Old Comiskey Park, Chicago. Yeah, and did some broadcasting work too after his playing career was over. Did a good job at that. But I can't emphasize enough what a just a genuinely nice man he was to everyone. There's that slider that I thought would be important for Derek today against Pence and Lee. And he's had a good one.
Like the Braves in the state of Georgia, Houston does a real good job of drafting within the state. Hunter Pence is a Texas kid, born in Fort Worth. And putting up a big-time fight against Derek Lowe.
Nine pitches already.
Pops that one off the end of his bat into left field for a leadoff single. Pence is 2 for 2.
Well, he earned that one after falling behind in the count and fighting off a lot of good pitches.
Carlos Lee's the Astro who has seen Derek Lowe the most. That goes back to their American League days.
He's got to wonder what he has to do to get a hit in the first inning at Turner Field. Yesterday it was Martin Prado who made that great stop on the line and threw him out from one knee. And today it was Chipper with a great stab on a line shot.
Yeah, an early test for Chipper's knee on that play too, huh?
Quick crossover step. Seemed to be okay.
Like Wandy Rodriguez, Carlos Lee's a cattleman. Got a big ranch. And this one hit high in the air to left. And the wind plays a few tricks with it. And Prado tracks her down for the first out.
That ball was really hit too. Carlos Lee's looking out there like, what in the world happened to that ball?
I was talking to Martin before batting practice yesterday. He said he's still not totally comfortable in the outfield. He has a little trouble still gauging depth on fly balls hit to him. He relies on Nate McLaughlin an awful lot. And he said he's more comfortable playing more deeply so he can come in on the ball rather than going back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's consistent with most guys who move to the outfield. They just don't have a lot of confidence going back on the ball. But I give him credit because I don't think he plays that deep. I think he's, generally speaking, fairly shallow, and especially for left-handed hitters like Wallace up there right now, he's pretty shallow. And he's getting good jumps on the ball. Again, he's a good baseball player.
It's kind of nice to see a guy not pigeonholed in one position. Wallace hits, 1 on, 1 out. He two-lined out to Chipper his first time up.
Talking about this guy last night and his numbers in college at Arizona State and how he won the Pac-10 Triple Crown 2 years in a row. And in that conference, that's pretty good work.
That was with Arizona State. And you mentioned a first-round pick. The Cardinals took him first in the 2008 draft. And in July of 2009, went to Oakland in the deal that brought Matt Holliday to the Cardinals. Oakland traded him to Toronto for outfielder Michael Taylor after the 09 season. And then outfielder Anthony Goes went to Toronto to bring Wallace to Houston. Might be 2. Ugla with a nice turn. Eric Lowe racks him up in the 4th inning. Braves nothing, Astros nothing. Two-foot blast from home plate. Chipper Jones, Dan Ugla, Eric Hinsky coming up. And let's take a look at our AT&T Universe trivia question. Who holds the Braves' rookie record for saves in a season?
Well, it looks like the old questions are beginning to ratchet up just a notch.
Mark Wohlers is the guy that comes to mind immediately, but I don't think that's right.
I like him too. I like that answer. But it's funny how, you get on a run, feel good about yourself. You maybe get like 5 in a row correct on the trivia question.
Haven't you learned yet that taunting the baseball encyclopedia is never a good idea?
Yes.
strikes. Yeah, you don't want to make Gretchen or her ballpark fan club mad.
I think I've already done it.
On the ground to Barmas. Chipper's retired, 1 out. Here's Dan Ugla. Took a called third strike his first time up. That ended the Braves' first. Atlanta with 3 singles in the game. Hayward, Prado, and Erikinski have them.
If one of the right-handers are going to launch one into the seats and left today, they're going to have to hit it low and hard. Try to keep it below the line of the stadium roof.
Into the Astros dugout, 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's that Astros defense. Downs couldn't pick it cleanly.
Kind of stabbed this one right into the dirt. It'll be an E5.
His second. Houston's 37th this year. Those 37 errors have led to 20 unearned runs. The Astros dead last in fielding in the National League. Let's see if Eric can help the Braves take advantage. 1 on, 1 out.
You saw Downs doing something that you normally see the pitcher do, and that is if the ball is hit to me, who's covering second, so I know who to throw to on a possible double play. Because with the shift on now, it could be either Sanchez or Barmas covering. More likely Barmas if it's hit to Downs.
Yeah, he's good. 25, 30 feet closer to the bag than the second baseman is.
Sanchez trying to move over and take the hole away from Hinske with a little shift.
Braves did a heck of a job against Roy Halladay on Sunday, going first to third. Let's see if they can work that action here with 1 out.
Yeah, not so surprising. It was the guy at first base who did it.
Yeah. Didn't mean to. 1, 6, 3. And the inning is over. Braves doubled up for the second time in the game and were scoreless heading to the 5th. ballpark today. Love it. Those 74 unis were awesome this weekend, weren't they?
They were.
Another big weekend, of course, in Atlanta is Memorial Day. Get your tickets in advance for the games here at Turner Field against the Reds. Publix fireworks on the 27th. Kids run the bases and alumni autographs on the 29th. And the Yacht Rock Review post-game concert presented by Delta and Coca-Cola on the 30th. For tickets, visit Braves.com.
They're good. I believe they've been here before. They're very good.
Yeah, we're going to be up close and personal with a suitcase for the next 3-4 weeks, huh? Long road trip starts after this game. 6-game homestand, then back at it we go to start the month of June. One and two to Matt Downs, who was born over in Tuscaloosa. He's got friends and family either watching the game at home or at the ballpark today.
Well, you know, they were getting a kick out of his work last night. Look at Derek's uniform whipping around. We see the effect of the wind on the flags, but we can't really see that much on the field except for how the uniforms get buffeted.
Well, it's been a weird weather year. You brought that to my attention this morning.
Yeah, this is from Jerry Krause, one of our camera operators, that there have been 26 games postponed by weather in 2 months of the season this year. That's 5 more than all of last season.
Lowe has a couple of strikeouts. He's gotten Downs both times today. There was another rainout today in Washington. Charlie Morton was going to pitch for the Pirates against Jordan Zimmerman, but bad weather in D.C. wiped that game away. Here's Barmas. This guy was on his way to a terrific career in Colorado and then had that freak injury. Remember, he slipped and fell carrying deer meat up the stairs at his apartment or something.
Yeah, right. I mean, he was like on his way to a batting title. And then they had a guy named Tulowitzki come along. And Clinton Houston.
Derek strikes him out.
Derek made a mistake down and into him his first time up, and he raked a double to left field. Keeps the ball away from him here. Another good slider, and has him taking a funny swing, just kind of reaching for that one.
Here's Tolles. No secret the Astros have been sold, or at least there's an agreement in place that has to be approved by the owners of Major League Baseball. What will be interesting, I guess, is what happens over the next 6 to 8 months, how they evaluate the players on the field, management, front office, what direction they're going to take the franchise under Mr. Crane. Drayton McClain is the man selling the team. Derek couldn't get it, and Alex dropped it.
Take a picture of that one. You don't see that very often. E6. Only his second error of the year. I don't know what looked like a real simple play. Just rolled out of his glove before he could get his hand on it.
Here's Bourne, or excuse me, here's Rodriguez, then Bourne on deck. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, and in Houston, oftentimes he's known as Magic Wandy, so be careful. can I tell you? It's a day game after a night game.
I'm just letting the audience soak that one in.
Okay.
It was a good one. 0-1. Right off the plate. Oh, funny spin.
You're not going to get by the diesel.
No. A wry smile from Eric Kinski. Home Depot, by McDonald's, and by Honda. Fast game, just like we thought. And both Wandy Rodriguez and Derek Lowe pitching good ball today. Game's as even as it can be after 4.5. Nice crowd gathered. Hopeful of seeing David Ross, Alex Gonzalez, and Nate McLouth get the Braves on the board. Big game for Atlanta today. A winning homestand guaranteed if they can beat Houston again.
Yeah, it'd sure take away some of the sting of that 2 out of 3 series loss to Washington. The team did not play as well as it's capable of playing in that series. And great that they salvaged the last game of it to move on into the Phillies series with a little momentum. That helped. But again, all season long, you're going to come out of series against good teams, against maybe a team that's not playing well, and you got to maintain the same focus, same intensity to take care of guys like Houston. With all due respect to the Astros.
Yeah, this isn't football or basketball. The NFL, you play 16 games, in the NBA, 82. This is every day. One quick strike to David Ross, who popped to right in the second inning. We're seeing a lot of defensive swings in this game, aren't we?
Well, it's because of all the breaking balls, Chip. It's this Houston team yesterday. Brett Myers, I'm not kidding you. I don't know how he was able to put his finger in his ear today. He threw so many breaking balls. Mercy. And Wandy's doing the same thing, I guess, because Myers had great success with it for half the game last night.
Ross swings and misses. David's down for the first out.
It's a lot easier to hit a breaking ball when you're looking for it early in the count than it is late in the count when you got to protect the plate, guard against a fastball sneaking in on you, and then have to adjust to a breaking ball.
Brett Arnsberg's the Houston pitching coach. Has to like what he sees from Wandy Rodriguez so far today.
That was just a straight change. Change up, fastball gets ahead 0-2. Now Alex has got to look fastball and adjust to the off-speed stuff, and more than likely he's going to get some more off-speed. Not there.
High fastball.
Didn't come back with it, and it worked.
Nate McLeod, he too rolled out his first time up. They'll try to extend his hit streak to 4 today.
That always scared me when I was at the end of the bench and one of my teammates would come back to the dugout after a strikeout and carry his bat with him to that end. Because you knew there really wasn't anything good going to come out of it. But Alex just props it up there in the corner.
Remember the movie Major League, where Serrano had the hats for the bats because the bats couldn't hit the curveball?
Yes.
Two balls and a strike. Wandy thought he got it there. Full count.
Little crossfire fastball that box track shows you missed, a little wide. And a 3-2 breaking ball.
Well struck toward left. Lee on the run gets there. Nate tried to hit one under radar, but Carlos Lee tracked it down to retire the side. will have the top of its order coming up against Derek Lowe. And my partner is still wearing the thinking cap, trying to come up with the answer to our AT&T Universe trivia question.
And since I have no clue, I'm going to guess Ernie Johnson.
I like it. And the answer is
right out of the Independent League.
What, for 24 baseballs and some bats, right?
I think so. Kerry had it working too, boy. He had that drop and drive delivery.
Ligtenberg had 30 saves. Craig Kimbrell's already over a third of the way to 30 saves. Freddie said after the game last night that if there's a save situation today, he would prefer to stay away from Kimbrell.
Yeah, it might be Johnny Venters today.
Ooh, Eric thought that caught the outside corner.
A little wide. Never really had the plate.
In the air. McLouth on the run. Still going. Wynn's got it. That helped him. One out.
Derek struck out 3. Rodriguez has fanned 5 by my count. Some other statistical nuggets. This one comes from Laser Baker, who found today that percentage of plate appearances in the major leagues that turn into a strikeout. This is kind of in the wake of last night, the Braves striking out 15 guys. And there were some interesting numbers. First of all, 19%, almost 1 out of every 5 in the National League results in a strikeout, and 18% in the American League. And what I found interesting,
as Sanchez bounces to second,
is that the National League includes the pitchers. So, you know, the pitchers strike out quite a bit, and yet there's only 1% difference between the AL and the NL. And that's a rise over the last, what, Dave, 75 years? It's right now at an all-time high in terms of strikeouts per plate appearance.
So the pendulum effect of baseball, which swung so heavily toward the hitters for reasons we've all identified, maybe it's swung back the other way now.
Absolutely.
I was reading a story from Bill Madden in the New York papers the other day. He said the June draft is coming up. The most prized commodity, he said in his talks with general managers and scouting directors, isn't necessarily that guy who can step in and be a #1 starter in rotation, but impact bats who can get to the big leagues in the next 3 or 4 years.
Well, I heard it on good authority that when Hunter Pence was drafted by the Astros, that there were only a couple of scouts that really wanted him. But fortunately, one of them was the scouting director.
Derek Lowe just struck him out. That ends Pence's perfect day. Not many impact bats in this game so far. Just 6 hits combined. Anyway, both pitchers are working today. And let's take a look at today's McDonald's fan of the game.
Wow, they were working on that. Now they got it going. Looking good, fellas.
Derek Lowell started off. And a tapper back to Rodriguez for the first out. Fans, just want to remind you to check out the Jerseys for a Cause charity auction going on now at Braves.com/jersey auction. All of them are game worn, signed by the player, and available for bidding now. Visit Braves.com/jersey auction today. If you had to pick one, would you go with the 1934 unis that Jurgens wore, or the 1974 uni that Tim Hudson wore?
That's a hard one, and I don't know. I'm awfully partial to that 74 uni right there, the white with the blue sleeves. That would look good even today. Button down the front, make it the navy and red colors that the team went back to.
I'm with you on that, especially the button-down part. I wasn't a big V-neck fan back in the day.
I mean, that Phillies uni the other day, the 74 Phillies uniform, outstanding. The powder blue.
Were those zippers though? Were those in the day were the Phillies uni zipper fronts?
I don't remember.
Can't remember that or not. But you're right, those were great looking unis worn by both clubs. And a line drive to left will drop. For Martin Prado, got a 3-1 count and has another multi-hit game. 18 of those for Prado. Guess with whom he's tied?
I saw the note.
Well, it's a rhetorical question.
Okay. I would go with Hunter Pence.
No, but you're close. Jose Reyes also has 18 multi-hit games.
Going to be a free agent at the end of the year, you know. Jose Reyes. All right, well, that's a good start to the inning. Martin worked the count to 3-1. Now let's see if they can parlay that one-out single into something. Nothing new for Derek Lowe, having to work with little or no run support. So one run might be huge for him.
Third least run support in the league for Derek. First the shoulder was hurting, now one of the feet.
Oh, knee.
You're right.
That was right off the inside of the knee. Whew. Threw him a breaking ball away and then came inside like so many teams do to Jason, trying to work him over in there, in off the plate so he can't extend his arms. Not one thing, it's another. That's why, like you said earlier, Chip, and that's not taking anything away from the toughness of football players or basketball players at all. But when you've got a sore shoulder and you foul one off your knee and you got to go right back out there tomorrow, it's tough duty in baseball. Oh, and by the way, get on a plane and fly 4 hours and play tomorrow too.
Yeah. Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike. As you look at Jason swinging the bat, does his shoulder look normal to you?
Yeah, it does.
I guess
got a better feel watching him in batting practice, and it looked
okay.
Yeah, it looked normal to me in batting practice. I would say, if anything, if his shoulder was still hurting him, he would not be able to extend his arms. He'd be cutting his swing off a little short, and that top hand would be overemphasized, and maybe it was a little bit on that last pitch. They tried to come in on him again, and at least he didn't hit it off his knee again. He pulled it foul.
High in the air to right center field, and Pence has a play. That ball started in right center and almost ended up in straightaway right. That's how hard the wind is blowing. And Chipper will bat with a man aboard and 2 out.
The Astros outfielders are three good offensive players for their team, very important players for their team. Defensively, Bourne and Pence can do what they need to do, cover ground, get good arms. And Carlos Lee will surprise you once in a while, especially on balls coming in. He'll get to one, but doesn't throw that well, and you could take advantage of his throwing arm if you want to go first to third or try to get around the sacks on a double. And Martin could certainly do that if Chipper can find a gap.
That's to straightaway left, and Lee charges. No chance for Prado to take third. Braves have them first and second now for Dan Uggla, and 2 out.
Fastball down the middle, certainly not located the way he wanted to.
So what you say early in the game, Rodriguez the kind of guy that can give you 10 hits but very few runs?
Yeah. Braves only have 5 today. His last start, typical of that type of outing against Cincinnati, he beat them 4-3, went 7 innings and gave up 10 hits, but he didn't walk anybody to make it worse.
Hasn't walked anybody today. He's gotten 2 double play balls, and now faces Uggla, who rolls one to Barmes on the first pitch, and that retires the side. Nothing doing for the Braves in the 6th. On we go to the 7th, and still no score. Blimpie game summary.
I thought it'd be a lot closer than this. Neither pitcher has walked a guy, so he's not. Neither one of them are giving in to the other side and pitching around anybody. Each 5 strikeouts and 4 respectively. Derek's only allowed 3 hits. He's been very sharp with his slider today. Just needs a little breathing room.
First pitch for Carlos Lee. Deep short. Long throw. Slow runner. 1 out. As we've said so many times about Alex, he never seems to get a bad hop, and he always knows who's running.
Took his time there to make sure he got his feet set too.
Wallace started the day 9th in the league in hitting. He's dropped 5 points. One ball, no strikes. Braves have played a bunch of tight games lately. 6 of their last 8 have been decided by 2 runs or less.
It's great for the fans. And an 11-4 May has gotten them back within 2.5 of the Phillies. Wallace does something just out of habit that must be a college thing now. Before he gets in the box, he takes his left hand off the bat and then he just throws it back at the umpire like, give me a second here so I can get in the box. I don't know why, but the more I see it, the more it bugs me. And it just seems like it's all college players now that are doing that. Ryan Braun does it all the time.
High in the air, and that's got trouble written all over it.
That bugs me too.
3rd homer for Wallace. The 5th allowed by Lowe. And Houston strikes first in the 7th inning.
There's no telling how far this ball would have gone on a normal day, folks. Down, sinker that had too much of the plate. And into that wind, that was quite a poke.
I kind of wish Alfonso Marquez had given him time.
Should have quick pitched him.
Braves down a run. Here's Matt Downs. He's struck out twice. 1-0 Astros in the 7th.
Astros took the lead last night in the 5th inning on a 1-out homer by Downs, and the Braves came right back in the 6th to take their first lead.
Chipper's got it. 2 outs. Lowe creeping up towards that 100 pitch mark. Now has Barmes in the box and trails by a run.
Linebrink and Sherrill begin to loosen up in the Atlanta pen.
Now Linebrink sits down. It's going to be Scott Proctor. One ball, one strike.
Got to give Wallace credit. I mean, he got a mistake, at least a semi mistake from Derek, a sinker that just had too much of the plate, and he didn't miss it. And there haven't been too many mistakes made by either pitcher today.
Barmes, a line drive to left. Martin cuts it off nicely. A 2-out single gives Barmes a 2-hit day.
Again, go back to his first hit, a double in the second, down and in. Then they made him look bad on a slider last time up. They come back down and in. And I'm not sure that's where David Ross wanted it. And Barmes didn't miss it again.
So Roger McDowell out for a chat. Tolles the hitter. 0 for his last 21. And then the pitcher's spot due next. Tolles was born in Crosby, Texas, lives in Tomball, Texas. North Central Texas College. He was a 20th round pick for Houston back in 2004. I don't see too many #1 picks for that Houston club the last 4 or 5 years on this roster. A stretch where their drafts were not particularly productive. Chipper ends the 7th inning, but not before Brett Wallace launches a solo home run into the wind and gives the Astros a 1-0 lead. By Toyota and by Joel and Associates. 7th inning stretch in Atlanta. Braves fans have their game faces on. Got to come back again against the Stros. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning with Eric Hinsky, David Ross, and Alex Gonzalez scheduled against Wandy Rodriguez, Who's been as tough as advertised, scattering just 5 hits today. All of them singles.
Hasn't gone to a lot of deep counts either. He's kept his pitch count low when he has given up hits. Only one leadoff man has reached, and that was Hinsky on his base hit in the second. Then he got wiped out in a double play.
Hinsky led off the second with a single. Was erased on a double play. Bats for the third time in a 1-run game. Here's our Delta Airlines on deck hitter. It's David Ross. Braves are a bloop and a blast away from turning the game around. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, I like it when Rodriguez, who's been very successful all day long, just plodding away, all of a sudden decides to drop down, throw one sidearm in the dirt. Got away from what he'd been doing that worked so well all day.
Little roller. Rodriguez can't get it. Wallace, high flip, but got his man. 1 out.
Very tough play for the first baseman here, knowing the pitcher has extended himself to try to get the ball and now has to turn, find the bag, and find the baseball when you're tossing it to him. So a good play by Wallace. David Ross, we know during this 4-game streak he's been on, where he's on 7 for 14 with 3 homers, he has just laced some fastballs, and they've been reluctant to give him one today. A lot of off-speed stuff.
One ball, 1 strike. David waiting for a plastic bag to blow across the diamond. Now full count. Well, calling time worked for Wallace. Maybe it'll work for David here. A 1-out walk.
First one of the day.
Now let's see how Alex Gonzalez fares in his third at bat.
For their pitching, it's not like they have a strength in the rotation versus the bullpen or vice versa. It's problems all around. Even when you get into their bullpen, the relief ERA of 5.05 last in the National League too. So the way Rodriguez has pitched today, if there's some way you can get to the bullpen, it'd be a whole lot better than what he's been giving you today.
Alex has hit lefties well this year. reaching on the first pitch. Strike one.
He's been really impatient today. He's been in the hole, it seems like, as soon as he walked up there. Hit into a double play in the second, struck out in the fifth, and has been pretty much swinging at the first thing he sees from Wandy Rodriguez, whether it's a strike or not. By the way, an announcement just made that Peter Moylan is out of surgery out in California. He had back surgery this morning. It went as planned, and he is in recovery, and we wish him a speedy recovery.
He held 1-2.
His body made it look like he kind of swung at this, but the bat got out there a little farther than I thought. So one on the house for Alex.
Will he throw him a breaking ball, or will he throw that chest-high fastball?
Well, let's watch Toll's target and see if he gives him a high target like he did last time. They're thinking fastball. Did come in, but I don't know what it hit. Alex is actually looking at his hand like he hit the glove. Like the ball ricocheted off the glove. It sounded like it hit the bat.
The knob of the bat, maybe?
Could be. And then off the catcher.
Little flare into center. Bourne puts it away, 2 out. Nate McLeod will bat. Joe Mathers grabbed a bat. He'll stand in the on-deck circle. Rolled out to second. And we go to the 8th inning. Wandy Rodriguez has a 1-0 shutout working at Turner Field. Astros left-hander leads by a 1-0 score. Brent Wallace, a solo home run. He's the only run so far through 7 innings of work. And Rodriguez will lead things off in the Astros 8th. We head west afterwards and take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. And our coverage begins at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Sports South with Braves Live. Then it's on to Anaheim and Pittsburgh on the upcoming road trip. Derek Lowe's day is done as well as the Braves make the AT&T call to the bullpen.
Great work by Derek Lowe. He had nothing to work with, however.
Again.
7 innings of 5-hit ball. Gave up only 1 run, no walks, 4 strikeouts. So it's up to George Sherrill and the rest of the bullpen to hold him right there until the offense can get something going. Sherrill's last outing was back in the Washington series on the 11th. So he's had full rest. 2/3 of an inning that day, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. These last 3 or 4 outings, though, Chip, I think George is really, he's kind of taken a page out of the Eric O'Flaherty book. He's become very aggressive with his fastball and really throwing hard.
Let's see if he can knock the bat out of the hands of Wandy Rodriguez here. Astros pitcher is 0 for 2. Didn't feel too good, did it? And Rodriguez on an 0-2 pitch feels a whole lot better. A leadoff single.
Well, the old Magic Wandy's back.
Maybe he can run the bases for a good long while. The Braves can take advantage in the bottom of the inning. Got to get Bourne now. He's hitless in the series, 0 for 7.
Very nearly a balk there. George had a hard time getting his left foot back behind the rubber.
Bourne punts that ball foul. Almost looked like it hit him out of the box. 0-1.
As long as he's in foul territory, it doesn't matter. He's dodging it, though, running to foul territory to make sure it didn't.
There's a bunt. Better hurry. Not in time. Astros in business. 2 on, nobody out. His 4th bunt hit. That also ties him with Jose Reyes for the league lead.
Jose's having himself quite a year.
And quite a day, considering it's a Braves and Astros game. 2 on, none out. And then a bunt hit by Michael Bourne has Houston threatening in the 8th inning with 2 on and nobody out. And another AT&T call to the bullpen features the newest member of the Braves relief corps.
His first appearance since being called up, Scott Proctor comes on, 34 years old, 6'1", 195. He was pitching lights out at Gwinnett. Had pitched scoreless relief his last 9 games over 10 innings and had given up just 1 hit in his last 5 innings. So he's right in the middle of their order, coming up to the heart of their order.
Ross wants to keep Wandy Rodriguez honest out at second base.
So Scott's got his work cut out for him here. It's a tough pickle at this part of the order and having first and second, nobody out.
Angel Sanchez 0 for 3. Has an even count. Dave Clark, the third base coach. Now a real tough assignment. Try to bunt with 2 strikes. He did, and it's a beauty. 1 for the sacrifice. Bourne to second. Rodriguez to third. Pence to hit.
I'm not sure, but I think David Ross might have been calling for him to go to third. There was just a slight hesitation on the part of Proctor. And he did have a little bit of time there, it looked like, with the pitcher running.
So be careful here with Pence. Braves do have a base open. They have Carlos Lee for Houston lurking next. Pence has 2 of the Astros' 7 hits.
Now snapped out of an 0 for 12 with that base hit in the first inning. He had a pretty long hitting streak coming into this series that had just been snapped, so they're going to put him on and hope they can get Carlos Lee to hit the ball on the ground. Again, he doesn't run near as well as Pence, and a double play candidate.
Lee has hit into 3 double plays. Houston surprisingly just 22 double plays as a club this year. How many times have we said it? One team loads them up and doesn't score. The other team usually does. Let's hope that's the case. Strike 1.
You want that double play, you're going to have to get the ball down a little bit. That one was up. A dangerous spot for Carlos Lee. Scott's throwing hard, no doubt about that. He's 94-95 on every fastball. It's like he's finally recovered from all those arm troubles he had in 2009 especially.
Good stop by David Ross.
Just perfect execution, getting in front of it, kind of smothering the hop with his chest. What a play.
Now you got to throw a strike.
15. Did that say 15 grand slams? Wow.
Popped him up. Lee's out on the infield fly.
And it was right there. He just pulled off of it too soon, ready to launch it. And by pulling off of it too soon, got under it. Big break there for Atlanta.
Here's Brett Wallace. Bases loaded now, 2 outs. Wallace, the big blow in the game, a home run in the 7th. Down the left field line, but well into the seats. Braves will have the 9, 1, and 2 hitters coming up in the 8th. Remember, Rodriguez has spent this entire half inning running the bases for Houston. He's their starting pitcher and the pitcher of record so far.
And let's hope he gets left standing at third base. Scott's been down and in to this left-handed hitter and way up and away. And once again has to throw one down the middle.
Three and two. So the merry-go-round will start. Runners will go with the pitch. We'll do it again.
We were talking earlier about that percentage of strikeouts and how it keeps rising, Chip. And to me, one of the reasons is because every team has about 3 or 4 guys coming out of the bullpen now, specialists that are throwing 94, 95 or higher. You only get one crack at them.
And he struck him out, or was it tipped? He struck him out. Brett Wallace struck out with the bases loaded. And pitch by pitch, here's how Scott Proctor got him.
Down in the dirt, up, and then up and away, and up and away, and fell behind and had to start making some good pitches, and then he did. Fouled off a couple, and how about this one? Cutter, quick slider there to get him to chase 3 and 2. Probably ball 4, but got the strikeout instead.
And that's the other thing. Why offense might be down. I know Chipper talked about it earlier on this homestand. The cut fastball is such a predominant pitch in this decade of the game. Tough pitch for a lot of guys to handle.
And hard to read.
Ryan Bogasevich takes over for Carlos Lee in left field. Remember, Wandy Rodriguez ran the bases that entire half inning. See if that has any effect on him. Houston loaded them, could not score. So now a little more pressure on Wandy Rodriguez as Joe Mather grabs a bat and will pinch hit.
Hey, this wind has not let up all day. Somewhere in the 20-25 mile an hour range all day long from left to right. Was the same way last night.
Joe's got a nice run going. Let's see if he can start things off and bring Prado and Hayward up.
Yeah, he's had a good homestand. Current closer for the Astros, Mark Melancon, is loosening up. Brandon Lyon, who started the year as the closers on the DL, they are 5 for 15 in save opportunities.
That's rough.
That's why Wandy Rodriguez will try to stay out there until he just keels over. He's only thrown 100 pitches, though. He's had quite a day.
A slow breaking ball popped up in the center of the infield. And Barmas behind the second base bag is there for out number 1. Fans, get your tickets now. The Braves' next homestand is Memorial Day weekend. The Braves post-game concert series presented by Delta and Coca-Cola will be on the 30th. It features Yacht Rock Review. For tickets, visit Braves.com or call 800-745-3000. Rodriguez has done an excellent job of limiting leadoff hitters. Only one has reached for the Braves so far today. He's in the second, and Eric Hinsky erased on a double play. In the air, shallow center.
And getting it done again with breaking stuff.
We showed you earlier how in his young major league career Jason Hayward has really punished Houston pitching. He's 1 for 3 today.
Feeling it right now. Wandy Rodriguez working really fast. Wanted that call, didn't get it. I don't think he's thrown a fastball over 89 all day.
But he's personifying the art of pitching, not throwing. Held the Braves to 5 hits.
And just 1 walk.
Well, a 2-out pass to Hayward. And now Chipper hits.
Checking the lineup card. Time for Brad Mills, the manager of the Astros. But if he were to bring in Melancon, the right-hander, who would be available on the Braves bench? And one guy in particular that he would see down there is Brian McCann.
Let's see if Chipper with one swing can turn the game around. Now Tolles wants to talk it over. 2 balls, no strikes.
He's pitched a great game. And all of a sudden, maybe with that, knowing that he's only got to get 4 more outs, he's getting a little too fine here, trying to be careful, make sure he doesn't give up a solo homer to Hayward, and he walked him. And now being very careful to Chipper for the same reason, doesn't want to give up a long one, and he's behind in the count as a result. Change up in the Butte. Chipper came in hitting .321 right-handed. One of his 4 homers was right-handed.
Back-to-back off-speed pitches evens the count 2-2.
He's lived all day by his curveball and changeup. Have to figure him at 2-2 to be thinking the same way unless he wastes a fastball. There's a breaking ball.
Well, he's not afraid to throw that over the inside corner, is he?
He's tried that spot several times today. He tried it on David Ross earlier today, and he's just missed. And Alfonso Marquez, to his credit, he's been consistent. He hasn't given that pitch today.
Hayward will try to run with 2 outs. And Chipper took one right down Broadway. Wandy Rodriguez strikes out Chipper Jones looking, and the Braves out of luck in the bottom of the 8th, down 1-0. He has fired 8 shutout innings here at Turner Field, a place that's not been a whole lot of fun for him to play or pitch. So he'll look for a little offensive support as we go to the 9th inning. The Braves make another AT&T call to the bullpen.
And this time it's Johnny Venters who's going to come in and work the ninth. And he'll be facing the lower half of the order for the Astros, hoping to hold them right there. The Braves will have 4, 5, and 6 due up in the ninth.
Downs, Barmes, and Tolles scheduled for Houston. Couple of strikeouts and a ground out for the Astros third baseman. Check swing. Venters will take it himself and apply the tag. Downs retired, 1 out.
Nice play by Johnny, and that had trouble written all over it. He was supposed to be a pretty good option quarterback in high school, and he made the option play himself there. Got recruited by the Naval Academy and Georgia Southern to play football in college, among others.
To short. Barmes is 2 for 4. And here's Tolles. One ball, one strike.
Melancon is still warming up in the Houston bullpen. We'll see if he gets the call in the ninth. I can't imagine that they would bring him in the way Rodriguez has handled the Braves today. But he's definitely hot and ready to go.
Jason Michaels awaits the fate of J.R. Tolles.
Don't know if he's window dressing or not. We'll see. If Tolles reaches, then Brad Mills will make a decision.
Nasty pitch takes care of the Houston catcher. So now the decision goes to Brad Mills. Will it be Rodriguez or someone else in the Atlanta ninth? here's why we have a 1-0 score.
Brett Wallace, the only offense of the day for either side. A solo 1-out homer in the 7th. Our Toyota play of the game. And Wandy Rodriguez is out of the game, and I need to correct my pronunciation. The guy who's going to try to finish for the Astros, is Mark Melanson. M-E-L-A-N-C-O-N. Melanson. Correct it again. Melanson will try to finish.
He's out of Arvada, Colorado. Was originally a Yankees farmhand. Had Tommy John surgery back in 2006. Missed the 07 season. And was one of the principals acquired by Houston when they traded Lance Berkman last year.
Another one of those guys that throws hard. He's in the mid-90s. Four-seamer as high as 95 miles an hour. He's got a cutter and a curveball. He's mostly fastball curve.
What's their save percentage? What are the Astros?
5 for 15.
So let's see if we can make it 11 with Dan Uggla to start it off. Dan has reached on an error in 3 plate appearances. Looks for his first base hit of this brief 2-game series. Uggla, Hinsky, Ross, Dew. Braves have McCann and Freeman available on the bench from the left side if needed. Brooks, Conrad, and Diori Hernandez the others.
Guys really do also. He is not allowed to run on the road this year. 10 appearances covering 9 innings. Got to steady up on him.
Diving play at third, downs. Long throw. 1 out. Hang out a gold star on that one, folks. That was spectacular. And a bad break for Uggla.
Real bad break because he's guarding the line. Any other time this is probably right at him, but guarding the line looked like that might get through. And Downs, who's had a good series, bounced up, made a good throw.
Well, does Eric Hinsky have some more late magic at his disposal today?
There's the curveball. Astros looking for their 3rd shutout win of the year. Braves have been shut out 3 times. But 2 outs left.
Brian McCann has grabbed the bat. Tail hit for David Ross. High fly hit to right. Pence going back at the wall. Slams in and holds on.
Wow. I thought Eric had done it again, Chip. Praying Mantis jumping into the wall and hangs on. Did that ball come out a little bit after he hit the wall? Yeah, that came loose and he still held on.
So 2 excellent defensive plays by Houston in the 9th. Now Brian McCann will try to keep it alive. Shift is on.
So far his fastball's been right around 92, 93. Probably no 4-seamers mixed in there, maybe some 2-seamers, trying to get some action on it.
From 95 to 83 on consecutive pitches, and now Brian and the Braves down to the last strike. High fly left center. Bourne on the run. Did he do it? He did! We're tied!
Look at this. Tolles wants the curveball in the dirt, Chip. The only time it hit the dirt was after it went over the fence. Melanson trying to talk it back. It didn't come back, and Brian turned the wind around, much like Wallace did.
Second career pinch hit homer for McCann. 11th blown save for Houston. And just enough as the Braves, down to their final strike in the 9th inning, have evened the score.
Think how important that play was that Hunter Pence made. Or Downs.
So the great effort by Wandy Rodriguez results in a no decision. Again, 2-strike hitting. And Alex and the Braves go to the 10th. Brian McCann. Freddie Gonzalez played the right card in the bottom of the 9th. 3 baseball in Atlanta. 1-1 your score. And with 2 strikes, 2 outs in the 9th inning, Brian McCann took Melanson out to tie things at 1. And so to the 10th we go, where extra innings are presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feature wild side.
We always see Brian McCann erupting in the dugout when someone else comes through with a big hit. This time it was Brian's turn to launch one, and look at everybody reacting for him. Yeah, baby.
And he will stay in the game, work behind the plate. Braves go to the pen for the 4th time as Jason Michaels goes to work for Houston. First pitch, Chipper with a 360 spin. That makes the man who answered the AT&T call to the pen happy. Eric O'Flaherty, 1 pitch, 1 out.
Nice play by Chipper there, just to keep his glove right along the ground. That ball hugged the ground to him. Eric's been outstanding. Worked a perfect inning last night, struck out 2. 21 Ks in 22 innings.
Houston's playing its 2nd extra inning game. They're 1-0. Braves are playing their 7th extra inning game already. Braves are 2-4.
Third extra inning game of this homestand. 2 with Washington.
No balls, 2 strikes to Michael Bourne. Disappearing slider.
You mentioned the another blown save for the Astros. That's got to just be very deflating for their ball club. Just, you know, like the old balloon theory, and kind of hard to gear up again when it looks like you're that close to a win and have it go away.
Well, when you're dead last in the league in pitching, which they are as far as the ERA goes, you get a great pitched game from your starter. You get 2 great defensive plays to bail you out in the bottom of the 9th inning. You're 1 strike away. You're right. That's real tough for Houston, but it says a lot about the resiliency in that Braves dugout, too. It would have been easy to say, all right, it's just not our day today. Here's Sanchez. 2 balls and a strike.
I had an extended conversation the other day with a couple of guys about emergency catchers. Now, Ross is out of the game. McCann's in there. Heaven forbid anything happened to Brian. But I did learn who the emergency catcher is, and it's not Martin Prado like I had suspected. It's Brooks Conrad. And when he was in the Houston organization, he worked real hard in the minor leagues. They said it might be a quicker way for him to get to the big leagues and get a chance to play in the big leagues if he could also catch. Brooks Conrad is your guy.
Sanchez takes a ball high, a 2-out walk. Which means you have to face Pence, who made a marvelous catch to rob Eric Hinsky a moment ago.
He must be taking a lot of heat from the fans out there, too, because after he caught the ball, he kind of showed the baseball to everybody out in right field. And again, after he makes the catch into the wall, that ball comes loose. And he grabbed it with his bare hand. Looked like he then pinned it against his glove. From this side, watch the ball. Right there, it came loose, and he was just kind of had it like right on his fingertips, right up against the glove.
Well, as we know, praying mantises kind of have that stance automatically, right? Sort of hands close to the.
They have good tensile strength.
Yes, near the thorax region.
Yes.
Whatever that means. 1 ball, 2 strikes. McCann wants it in the dirt with 2 strikes. And got it there. Boy, the Braves bullpen has turned in great work today. Let's see if they can win it in the 10th. His second big league save today, but Brian McCann hit a game-tying 9th inning homer with 2 strikes.
Supposed to drop that breaking ball in the dirt. He left it up, and that got everybody on their feet. What an at-bat.
So let's see if the Braves can win it here in the 10th. Houston goes to its bullpen again. Jeff Fulcino has done a pretty good job considering their team ERA.
Yeah, he's got a strikeout per inning pitched. Mostly 2-seamers for him. Good hard sinker, low 90s. Slider, he's got features a split finger pitch as well.
The Astros got Fulcino off waivers after the 2008 season. Jeff was with the Kansas City Royals. Was originally a Marlins draft pick way back in 2001. And falls behind McLouth. 2 balls, no strikes.
The one thing when you're on the road that you just guard so hard against is let that leadoff man reach, especially with a walk. That leads to so many problems, and the Braves would love it. And Nate may have chased ball 3.
Fulcino played college ball at UConn. Way back in 1999. He's even the count now. 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
Should get a good pitch to hit. Again, he doesn't want to walk him. Not the leadoff man in extra innings. Guys throwing hard, just stay back, let your hands work.
Leadoff walk. Brooks Conrad will step in.
Well, let's see what happens here. You're using Brooks Conrad. You still have Yori Hernandez and Freddie Freeman on the bench. But this is, by the book, kind of a bunt situation. Let's see if Brooks is asked to bunt.
Houston thinks he will. He doesn't tip his hand on the throw to first. Downs creeping in on the grass at third base.
It's not often you hit and run with nobody out. Not necessarily a good play. But Brooks is so rarely asked to bunt, you might cross him up here and get a good pitch to hit.
Bunted back to Fulcino. Only one play.
Well done.
Now the top of the order with one out.
Greeted like he just hit a homer.
And the manager over with a pat on the helmet too.
It's not often that a team, Chip, has a guy at the top of the order who's tied for the team lead in RBIs, but that's the case with the Braves. Martin Prado tied with Chipper for the team lead in that category.
It's a function of the good work guys like Nate McLouth have done. Freddie Freeman at the bottom of the order. Made it second with one out.
And a good base runner at second base in Nate, too. Right there. His best pitch so far.
Martin almost sat down. He swung so hard.
Well, it was a breaking ball. Took a little off of it. I think that might have been what Martin was looking for. The pitch before. Just kind of a short slider. Didn't have much on it, and rightfully so have a big cut at it because it was up. But Martin doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes. And hit the ball with authority to all parts of the park.
High fly to center, but that's going to be playable. And Jason Hayward, the last hope for Atlanta, with 2 outs in the 10th inning. Last year, Jason was hotter than hot against Houston. His first start since his shoulder woes today. He's got a single in 3 official trips. He's also walked.
Brett Wallace almost back to the grass at first base. Angel Sanchez standing right on the edge of the grass. They've got to knock the ball down to keep the run from scoring if it's hit that way. So they're trying to give themselves as much room as they can to get some range. You mentioned their defense and lack of it so far on the year, Chip, and at the very least you just want to make them make a play. Because if they don't, game's over.
Pitching Jason awfully carefully, knowing Chipper's on deck.
Yeah, a little surprising to me. And usually if they're trying to get Jason out, they're pitching him in, and they haven't offered anything inside. Going away again.
That was as unintentional an intentional walk as you'll ever see. Second walk of the inning.
I'm a little surprised by that. I know the odds are in your favor to help your defense, your infield defense, to set up a force play at first, second, or third by having Jason walk. But he's just coming back, hadn't played in a week.
And Chipper batting left-handed for the first time now in the 10th inning. Let's see if he can ambush a two-out pitch.
Starting with a changeup. They got him looking at a changeup his last at bat against Rodriguez.
Chipper didn't think so. 0-2.
Thought it was off the plate, and it was.
Lightning struck on a 1-2 count in the 9th. Will it strike for Chipper with the same count in the 10th?
Again, the changeup's been an effective pitch for them against him. I'd love for him to get out on his front foot, trying to guard the plate and roll over one to the right side.
Strike three on a slider. So Chipper caught looking for the last two trips, and we go to the 11th inning. Once again, extra innings are presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Another AT&T call to the bullpen. This time it's a righty coming out of the pen. It's young Corey Guerin.
He worked in one game in the Philadelphia series, got a hold to his credit, 2/3 of an inning. Gave up a run, however. His best outing in this homestand came against Washington on the 12th. Struck out the side in his one inning of work. So he's had a few days off too and should be ready to go.
And he'll face the middle of the Houston order. Bogusevich, Wallace, and Downs are coming up. A couple of solo home runs, all the offense today. One by Brett Wallace in the Houston 7th. Brian McCann with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning tied the game. And Bogusevich lays down a bunt, and it is a beauty.
Look where Chipper was playing. For the leadoff guy here, he was deep, and Bogusevich recognized it right away and took advantage of it. Don't know if Chipper might have been thinking about that strikeout or not, but the Houston leadoff guy noticed it right away.
So Brett Wallace bats. He struck out with the bases loaded in the 8th inning. Scott Proctor's season debut for Atlanta in relief. And a couple of 3-1 counts. Got Carlos Lee to pop out. Fell behind Wallace 3-1, forced 3-2, and then struck him out on a ball that appeared to be out of the strike zone.
Bogusevich at first base is an interesting story. A high draft pick that the first 3 or 4 years of his career he was a pitcher.
He's out of Tulane.
He did both for Tulane too, and the Astros decided they wanted him to pitch, and that didn't work out so good. Career .511 ERA.
He's going and got a great jump.
First move he saw, he took off, and he had a huge jump. You're right. See, he was already leaning. Guessed right.
So Wallace will be intentionally walked. The Braves will set up a double play opportunity. And Matt Downs comes up with an 0 for 4 day at the plate. Roger McDowell will visit the mound. Downs a nice story, a 36th round draft selection by the Giants back in 2007. Another player acquired via the waiver wire by Houston. That was last August.
He had a big night last night. He has not had a big day. He struck out twice and hasn't gotten the ball out of the infield. So let's see if he's bunting.
He does not have a sacrifice bunt.
That would be apparent as to why. I'm watching Dave Clark give signs at third base, and now with 2 strikes, there's none on. But when he gives signs, if I were one of those guys inclined to try to steal signs, I would assume that none of the signs mean anything on the left side of his body, because he's always facing out towards second base where the hitter can't see what he's touching on the left side.
He's as far out of the third base coaching box you can be and still be on the field of play. And he's a step off the warning track.
See how he's faced toward the bag, though? The hitter can only see his rubs and touches with his right hand. They have no idea what's going on the other side.
That one was a foul ball. Oh, they're going to say he stuck his arm up. And that's going to bring out Brad Mills.
Wow. He did stick his arm up. I thought it was in self-defense. And no, not necessarily. That ball wasn't that close. Alfonso Marquez appears to have gotten that one right. Great call, and Brian McCann was pointing right away too.
And you have to attempt to get out of the way of the ball. If you're hit and do so, you get a base. If not, it's a bruise and a ball.
You can take one for the team and make it look a whole lot less obvious than that.
Yeah. Full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And then he strikes out. He'll be fuming about the hit by pitch, but remember, Downs' assignment was to bunt, and he couldn't get it down.
Threw it right by him, too. Now a tough out. I know Barmas didn't hit 200, but he showed you today that he's coming around after coming back from that broken hand. Put a couple of good swings on pitches down and in from Derek Lowe.
Corey's looking for the old 6-4-3 right here. That would send this to the bottom of the inning.
And if he is, he'll have to get it down. That one won't work. He's got 2 different speeds with that breaking ball, and that one, the one he just threw, almost it acts like a changeup because he takes so much off of it. Remember, back in the 5th inning, Derek Lowe made Barmas look bad with a breaking ball after he got ahead of him in the count.
Now it's 3-1.
Yeah, and Brian's noticed something. He's trying to get Guerin to gear down a little bit, I think, because he's really overthrowing, not giving his sinker a chance to sink it all.
They're loaded. for the catcher, J.R. Tolles. Astros had the bases loaded in the 8th and didn't score. Now Guerin's made a mess of the 11th and has a real slumping hitter in the box.
Who has not hit into a double play this year. And 57 at bats.
He has now.
Alex. Mercy.
Oh, wow. Can are coming up after a wickedly hit double play ball sends this thing to the home half of the frame.
This was just sick. I'm not kidding you. J.R. Tolles hit that right on the button. I mean, he's got Alex on his heels. He still made the play. Alex was kind of backpedaling a little bit to give himself some room so he didn't have an in-between hop. He still got an in-between hop, hit a million miles an hour, and he still handled it. Just an unbelievably good play.
Now, if he doesn't catch that with the glove, it goes right through his abdomen and ends up in left field. I mean, it was just crushed. And it is the first double play ball by Tolles. And now Dan Uggla against Fulcino in the 11th. Into right center field, but it'll hang up for Bourne.
I mentioned Derek Lowe a minute ago and making Barmas look bad earlier in the game. Well, another thing that Brian McCann's home run did was take him off the hook, because he certainly didn't deserve an L today the way he pitched, giving up only 1 run in 7 innings.
No strikes.
And it was Hensky, remember, who almost tied it in the 9th with a drive to right. Tip from Chipper and what he saw from Fulcino.
to Hinske.
The answer is yes. Green light. Braves were down to their last strike in the 9th inning. And a bad breaking ball from Melanson just cleared the left center field wall to tie this game up.
Not too often do you see a relief pitcher in an inning and 1/3 walk 3 people and not give up a run. That's exactly what Fulcino has done, with McCann in the box and Hinske at first. Swing and a high fly ball. If it's fair, it's gone. It is gone.
That one didn't sneak over. Hanger, something off speed and launched. Just a matter of fair or foul. Looked like it made it into the terrace level. Look at the dugout. Oh, yeah. The Home Depot player of the game, without any question, Brian McCann.
That's how you end a homestand. The Braves 5-3 sweep the Astros in 11 innings by a final score of 3-1. Corey Guerin the win, Jeff Fulcino the loss, and we're headed west in just a little while. Our next telecast tomorrow night on Sports South will battle the Diamondbacks. Our coverage begins at 9 o'clock with Braves Live. Hope you enjoyed the ball game, folks. For Joe Simpson, Chip Carey, and the crew, good day from Atlanta.